When Marty was a child in the 90s, she was a huge fan of the famous ventriloquist Edgar Bergen and his dummy, Charlie McCarthy. This love for ventriloquism set the stage for an eerie encounter that she later shared on the podcast, Monsters Among Us. It all began when Marty's father, while exploring a small magic shop outside Santa Rosa, California, stumbled upon a ventriloquist doll. He thought it would make the perfect birthday gift for his daughter. As he paid for the doll, the cashier gave him an unsettling look and warned, "You know, when you put your hand inside the doll, it's going to come alive." Her father laughed off the strange comment and brought the dummy home. Marty was ecstatic when she received the doll. "I was so happy when I got that doll," she recalled. "I was obsessed with it." But soon, strange things started happening. Marty noticed the doll's expression seemed to change, even though its head was made of hard plastic. Its smile would shift, defying logic and material constraints. Concerned about preserving the doll, Marty's family began locking it in a cupboard at night. One night, they were awakened by the sound of footsteps in the living room. Assuming it was the dog or another family member, they went to investigate. To their shock, they found no one there, except for the doll, sitting on the couch. "We always put it away because I loved that doll so much and took care of it," Marty explained on the podcast. The unsettling incidents didn't stop there. While Marty and her dad were away, her uncle was home alone. He distinctly heard Marty's father calling his name from the living room, even though he knew he was alone. When he went to check, he found the doll sitting on the couch, eerily alone. "All of our family was pretty much scared of the doll," Marty said. "People would start hearing their names being called, and we would hear walking at night. So, we decided we needed to get rid of it." Marty's parents, being devoutly religious, feared the doll might be possessed. They tried burning it on the grill, but it wouldn't catch fire. "This doll would not go up in flames at all, whatsoever," Marty recounted. Desperate, they attempted to cut it with a knife, but that too failed. Finally, they threw it in the trash can. After the garbage was collected, Marty's dad went to retrieve the bin, only to find the doll still inside. Determined to be rid of the creepy doll once and for all, they dug a hole in the backyard and filled it with cement, burying the doll beneath it. Though Marty's family has long since moved away, the memory of the doll still haunts them. They can't shake the fear that one day, it might find its way back to them. Years passed, and Marty grew up, moving away from her childhood home. Despite the unsettling experiences with the ventriloquist doll, life carried on as usual. She often thought back to those bizarre events, but tried to chalk them up to childhood imagination. However, deep down, the memory of that doll and its inexplicable actions lingered. One evening, as an adult, Marty received a call from her younger brother, Luis, who still lived in the same town. Luis sounded unusually nervous. "Marty," he began, "I need to tell you something weird. I was digging in the backyard to plant a tree and found something strange." A cold shiver ran down Marty's spine. "What did you find?" she asked, already dreading the answer. "It's the doll," Luis whispered. "I found the ventriloquist doll buried in the backyard. It's exactly where you said you and Dad buried it, encased in cement." Marty's heart raced. "Are you sure it's the same one?" she asked, hoping against hope that it was a different doll. "Positive," Luis confirmed. "It's the same creepy doll. The cement was cracked, but the doll is in perfect condition, like it hasn't aged a day." Marty felt a wave of fear wash over her. "Get rid of it, Luis. Do whatever you have to, but get rid of it." Luis agreed, but days later, Marty received another call. This time, Luis was even more agitated. "Marty, I tried everything. I burned it, but it wouldn't catch fire. I even tried to cut it, but the knife wouldn't go through. It's like the doll is indestructible." Marty's worst fears were confirmed. The doll was back, and it seemed more malevolent than ever. Determined to find a solution, Marty reached out to a friend, Carla, who was a paranormal investigator. Carla agreed to help and came to inspect the doll. As soon as she saw it, her face grew serious. "This isn't just a doll," she said. "It's a vessel for something dark. We need to be very careful." They decided to conduct a cleansing ritual. That night, under a full moon, Carla performed the ritual in Marty's old backyard, with Luis and Marty assisting. They surrounded the doll with protective symbols and chanted prayers to banish any evil spirits. For a moment, it seemed like it might work. The air grew thick, and an oppressive energy filled the space. Suddenly, the doll's eyes seemed to flicker with an unnatural light, and a cold wind swept through the yard, extinguishing their candles. Undeterred, Carla continued the ritual, her voice steady and firm. Finally, with a loud crack, the cement around the doll shattered completely, and the doll itself crumbled into dust. Relieved, Marty and Louise thanked Carla for her help. They gathered the remains of the doll and buried them far away from their home, hoping this would finally put an end to the haunting. Months passed, and life seemed to return to normal. Marty and her family began to feel a sense of peace that had been missing for years. But sometimes, on quiet nights, Marty would hear a faint whisper in the wind, reminding her that some mysteries are never fully laid to rest. Though they never saw the doll again, the experience left an indelible mark on Marty and her family. They learned to respect the unknown and always remained vigilant, knowing that some things are best left undisturbed. Years went by, and the memory of the haunted ventriloquist doll gradually faded into the background of Marty's life. She moved to a new city, started a family, and built a career, leaving behind the eerie experiences of her childhood. Louise, too, seemed to have moved on, though they occasionally reminisced about the strange occurrences, sharing a laugh mixed with a shiver of unease. One summer, Marty received an unexpected call from a historian named Dr. Evelyn Trent, who specialized in occult artifacts. Dr. Trent had heard about the doll through a mutual acquaintance in the paranormal investigation community. Intrigued by the story, she asked if Marty would be willing to meet and discuss her experiences. Curiosity piqued, Marty agreed. They met in a cozy cafe, where Marty recounted the strange history of the doll. Dr. Trent listened intently, taking meticulous notes. After Marty finished, Dr. Trent leaned in and said, "I believe your doll might be connected to an ancient legend about a cursed artifact known as the Whispering Doll." According to Dr. Trent, the Whispering Doll was rumored to be a conduit for restless spirits, crafted centuries ago by a sorcerer who sought to trap malevolent entities. The doll had passed through many hands over the years, leaving a trail of eerie occurrences and unsolved mysteries in its wake. Marty was both fascinated and horrified by this revelation. Determined to uncover the truth, Marty and Dr. Trent decided to visit the old house where Marty had grown up. They hoped to find any remaining clues that might shed light on the doll's origin. Louise joined them, and together they explored the now-abandoned property. As they dug through the attic, they found an old chest filled with family heirlooms. Among them was a faded photograph of Marty's father holding the doll, a strange expression on his face. Behind him, barely visible, was the magic shop where he had bought the doll. The shop's name, Mystic Curiosities, was just legible. Dr. Trent suggested they visit the location of the former shop, now long closed. When they arrived, they found the building in disrepair, but the sign still hung, weathered and ghostly. They pushed open the door and stepped inside, the air thick with dust and the scent of forgotten secrets. In a back room, they discovered a journal belonging to the shop's previous owner, detailing the acquisition of various items. Flipping through the pages, they found an entry about the doll. The owner had noted its strange properties and the warning given to Marty's father. The final entry was particularly chilling. The doll's origin is unknown, but it seems to be bound by powerful forces. Handle with extreme caution. As they stood in the dim light of the shop, an overwhelming sense of dread washed over them. Dr. Trent suggested they conduct one final ritual to ensure the doll's spirit was truly laid to rest. She believed that returning to the site where it was purchased might help to sever any lingering connections. That night, under a waning moon, they gathered outside the shop. Dr. Trent led a ceremony, chanting incantations and burning sage. As the ritual progressed, the wind picked up, swirling around them. The temperature dropped, and they heard faint whispers carried on the breeze. Marty and Louise joined hands, focusing their thoughts on peace and closure. The whispers grew louder, then abruptly stopped. A moment of profound silence followed, and then, as if on cue, a sense of calm settled over the area. Dr. Trent concluded the ritual, stating, "I believe the spirits tied to the doll have finally found rest." Marty and Louise felt an immense relief, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. In the months that followed, Marty noticed a change in herself. The nightmares that had plagued her since childhood ceased, and she felt a newfound sense of peace. She stayed in touch with Dr. Trent, who continued her research into occult artifacts, always thankful for the closure they had found together. Though the doll was gone, the experience had forever changed Marty. She embraced a deeper understanding of the mysterious and the supernatural, cherishing the bond she had with her family and the resilience they had shown. The haunting was over, but the lessons it imparted remained, a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of the unknown.